We've never had a foreign government trying to interfere in our election. We have 17 intelligence agencies, civilian and military, who have all concluded that these espionage attacks, these cyber attacks, come from the highest levels of the Kremlin, and they are designed to influence our election. I find that deeply disturbing, and I think it's
time. She has no idea whether it's Russia, China, or anybody else.
I am not quoting myself.
No idea.
I am quoting
Hillary, you have no idea.
17 do you doubt 17
our
military
has
and
no
civilian
idea.
Agencies? Well,
yeah,
he'd rather believe Vladimir Putin than the military and civilian intelligence professionals who are sworn to protect us.
So it turns out there was Russian disinformation in the 2016 election. Only problem is it came out of the mouth of Hillary Clinton. Almost a year later, we have a correction by the New York Times, June 29th, 2017. A White House memo article on Monday about President Trump's deflections and denials about Russia referred incorrectly to the source of an intelligence assessment that said Russia orchestrated hacking attacks during last year's presidential election. The assessment was made by 4 intelligence agencies: the DNI, the CIA, the FBI, and the NSA. Oh, very trustworthy. So even though the head of the NSA, James Clapper, is caught lying under oath about whether or not they are collecting phone calls indiscriminately, as proven by Edward Snowden's PRISM documents and the work of William Benny, they still have all the credibility in the world. It says, finally, the assessment was not approved by all 17 organizations in the American intelligence community. When they heard Hillary Clinton say that 17 agencies came to this conclusion, was no one watching the presidential debates? Did they not later hear about it and say, hey, we need to have a press conference just so you know, we did not come to this conclusion. So let's not unnecessarily have tensions between us and another nuclear power. If you go to the Clinton Foundation's website, you can go to their donation, contributor, and grantor information section. And you can see donation amounts between $10 million and $25 million. And in there, you'll see the Commonwealth of Australia and the Kingdom of Norway. And then they say Government of Norway specifically. And finally, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, one of the most evil governments on the face of the planet, not to mention the Rockefeller Foundation. Now, if you click on this link here, it will take you to a page that says Error 404, our apologies. It looks like something's gone wrong. Well, conspiracies don't exist, except for the fact that Putin's secretly trying to take over the world and hack the 2016 election and then hacked the 2020 election. Other than that, conspiracies don't exist. So I'm sure an intern tripped on a wire, and that's why the page is no longer up there. Let's move away from Russiagate Hoax 1.0 and go to Russiagate Hoax 2.0.
And I do want to start with the security of our elections and some breaking news from overnight. Just last night, top intelligence officials confirmed again that both Russia and Iran are working to influence this election.
No, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
Nobody. President Trump, I want to stay on the issue of race. We're talking about the issue.
From hell.
President Trump, we're talking about race right now, and I do want to stay on the issue of race. President Trump,
I have to respond to that.
Please,
because look,
very quickly.
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
That's exactly what.
Is this where you're going? This is where he's going. The laptop is Russia,
Gentlemen,
Russia.
I want to stay on the issue of race.
You have to be kidding. Here we go again with Russia.
Here is Glenn Greenwald quoting the New York Times in an article titled Hunter Biden Paid Tax Bill, but Broad Federal Investigation Continues. Those emails were obtained by the New York Times from a cache of files that appears to have come from a laptop abandoned by Mr. Biden in a Delaware repair shop. The email and others in the cache were authenticated by people familiar with them and with the investigation. So all they had to do a year ago when they canceled the New York Post on Twitter and saying that it was fake Russian disinfo would say, all right, here are 5 sendees of these emails. Let's see if anyone can confirm it. But no, they just called it a hoax, and that is and that's their MO. Here are a list, or here's rather a list of the 50, the big ones. James Clapper, former director of national intelligence. DNI, but from what I hear, is supposed to be top security clearance. So the biggest, most powerful people are getting on the biggest platforms and telling the most evil lies that could provoke tensions with another nuclear power. But see, they're really worried about Alex Jones questioning whether or not certain events took place exactly how the corporate press describes them as. Mike Hayden, former director of the Central Intelligence Agency. Leon Panetta, former director of the Central Intelligence Agency. John Brennan, former director of the Central Intelligence Agency. And the list just goes on. So here is a perfect example of how the most evil fake news occurs on the biggest scale, while they have these fake little enemies that, they're so terrified you question the legitimacy of a democratic election that they explicitly lied about multiple times, with the most powerful people behind these large-scale deceptions that lasted more than a year. No apologies. And it's good they don't apologize. This way, we know that they don't actually care. Because if they did apologize, it might throw you off a little bit. Thank you for watching the Don't Tread on Anyone podcast and the Libertarian Institute.
For a fact that he's poisoned his own people. He doesn't believe in the worth of each individual. We must do everything we possibly can to stop the terror. Now watch this drive.
Mr. Bush, when are you going to apologize for the million Iraqis that are dead because you lied? You lied about weapons of mass destruction. You lied about connections to 9/11. You lied about Iraq being a threat. You sent me to Iraq. You sent me to Iraq in 2003. My friends are dead. Joshua Garcia. You killed people. You lied. You lied about WMD. A million Iraqis are dead because you lied. My friends are dead because you lied. You need to apologize. Apologize.
The tyrant has fallen, and Iraq is free.